really know what it was, so I booked a session to see what it was all about. I knew it had something to do with posture, but not much more. Would I be balancing books on my head? It's a lesson which aims to improve the posture and function of the body through movement. A bit cryptic, I know, but stick with me. It's based on the idea that some people have poor movement habits which can create tension and pain in the body. And the technique involves a trained teacher giving verbal instruction and gentle guidance in order to become aware of movement, tension in the body and change habits. This is Anthony Kingsley, and he'd be teaching me all about the Alexander technique.
What's going to happen is I'll put this here and you're going to look out of the window.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do what I do, which is I move you around.
Yeah.
Your job is to let me move you.
Okay.
I might move an arm, I might move your head. I might ask you to walk or go onto your toes or sit in the chair. And as far as possible, you let me do the moving.
Okay.
That's it. Place my hands here, and I will not do any funny manipulations like an osteopathic click, so don't worry, there'll be nothing sudden that's going to happen.
The benefits of the Alexander technique include improved movement and posture, reduce tension and pain, increase energy and relaxation, and improve performance in everyday life and work. And I'd soon learn that there was way more to this. The lesson started with Anthony gently moving my head. This was a way for me to relax and give him control of my movements.
And I'm going to take an arm, same thing, I've got the weight of your arm, and if it lets go, it goes where it goes.
Then I sat down and stood up with Anthony's guidance and instruction. Sit down, stand up, sit down, stand up. I was starting to think this was an exercise class. My legs were burning. This happened over and over again, and I couldn't really work out what was going on or why.
So what do you think is happening as you're coming in and out of the chair? What do you think is working and what isn't working? Bend the knees.
Quads are working.
Quads are working, correct. So fronts of the legs are working.
Yeah.
And what's happening in the neck and back? And
Feels relaxed.
feels relaxed, staying relaxed. It's not active.
It turns out that this was a drill. It was as much a brain exercise as it was a body exercise, getting my brain used to this new mindful way of sitting and standing, whilst keeping my head, neck and back relaxed and aligned.
Right, what's it like to come out of a chair like that?
I've never got out of a chair like that ever.
No. What was the difference?
Everything felt quite balanced.
Exactly,
Like
felt
a
balanced,
concertina.
like a concertina, that you just unconcertinaed with the minimum of effort, almost like it's poof.
I booked this lesson because I work at a computer most days and my posture seems to be getting worse. I get a tight upper back, neck and shoulders, and have recently been getting frequent headaches. Would this help? So while Anthony does his thing, I'd like to give you some history about the Alexander technique. It was developed by Frederick Matthias Alexander, an Australian actor, in the 1890s. Frederick suffered from voice problems which affected his career, so he began to investigate the role that poor posture and movement had on his health. He realised that in most things he did, walking, talking, even thinking, there was tension, and he noticed the same tension in other people too. So through 10 years of self-observation and experimentation, he discovered a technique that helped him not only regain his voice, but also improve his overall health and well-being. And the Alexander technique was born, teaching people how to move with better posture, with less tension. Throughout the treatment, Anthony did this check, a gentle flick of a limb to see if I was fully relaxed. He called this being in a state of non-doing. I balanced up on my toes and did some walking, and I could feel my body and mind entering into a different state. I was starting to understand what this was all about. If you've had an Alexander technique lesson or you're a teacher, please add your experience in the comments, as I know there's people who would love to read about it.
So now I'm going to do the same thing as before, move around a leg, an arm, and you're going to let me do the moving.
Great.
Without me forcing anything and without you helping me. So I'm going to lift up a leg.
I was beginning to realise that most of the time I live in autopilot, not necessarily a bad thing, but the Alexander technique was teaching me to be conscious of my movements. I suppose it's a bit like meditation.
Can you sense what's happening in the neck and the spine?
feels effortless relaxation.
Effortless relaxation, yeah. The neck has got no tension in it, it's effortless.
I was calm, yet with this, I was fully alert. And this feeling of calm yet alert doesn't come natural to me. I'm either one or the other.
What would it be like to have a conversation in this condition? Say hello to you like this, with this energy.
Doesn't feel like me.
Exactly, it doesn't feel like you.
It's like somebody else.
So what is this you that doesn't do the ha
I'm
da da?
not sure. I think if people were to meet me,
They'd think,
my friends, they'd go, "Are you okay?"
on one level, you may feel it's not going to be so acceptable to not come from this more stressed state, which feels nicer. Yeah, this energy is quite economical. You can still be animated if you want, but there's a softness to you that is a different way of being.
For various reasons, I tend to live my life in this mildly on-edge state. I expect many people do. I've lived like this for so long, I don't even realise it's there. Then I visit someone like Anthony and experience this alternate state, one that I should probably be living in more often. Although I take plenty of time for myself, got meditation, yoga, nature walks, then I realise quite a lot of my life is either here or here. I'm either doing something or taking time out. There's no middle ground. But what Anthony was teaching me is that the Alexander technique was about taking time in, learning how to manage my body and my mind, and living with a greater sense of ease, peace and stillness. Practicing this would improve the tension in my neck and back, prevent headaches, improve my posture, and have a positive effect on other aspects of my life. This was more than just a movement lesson. This was a state of mind.
So unlike a massage where you're very dependent on someone sort of pushing the muscles and releasing little muscle groups, and you go, oh, that's nice, this is a different sort of thing, where your nervous system is learning how to self-regulate, how to regulate back to its original design.
I asked how many lessons are recommended, but then I realised it's like asking a gym how many visits are needed to get fit. This would be an ongoing process that required practice. But even after one lesson, back in my everyday life, I can feel an improvement. I'm writing this script, eating a meal, driving, even running. I think, am I Alexandered? And by this I mean, is this a good position for my body? And am I free of tension? And when asking myself this, my shoulders drop, my back aligns, and I instantly feel calmer, both body and mind. And it brings me into the present moment, something that I had not expected from booking this.
You're sitting up beautifully upright. If you look at yourself in the mirror, it's happening by itself. It's organic, it's something inside of you that's lifting you, and it's not me, and it's not your effort.
I hope I've done a good job of explaining what the Alexander technique is, and I'm not sure where you, the viewer, are at right now. Did it make sense, or does it all sound a bit flimsy? It's a very subtle treatment. I have made a video of the full 45-minute lesson, which I've linked in the description and the pinned comment if you want to watch it. The best way I can demonstrate what this lesson had on my body is showing you a before and after of me sitting. This was how I sat at the start, and this was how I sat at the end. And this position was no effort at all. I just wish that I could show you the difference in my mind too. Maybe you can see it in my face. I felt more peaceful after this lesson than 2 hours in a flotation tank. And look at the improvement in my face and jawline in the after video. My guess is because my head, neck and back are all aligned with ease, it then shows the contours of my face. Who'd have thought it? I can quite honestly say this was one of the best things I've done in years. A simple technique for everyday life and a fabulous tool to have in our toolbox.